when you have an expo, you give people a chance to do business on their own terms at their own pace. Another thing that I learned was I don't have to do a 3-day conference. I can put people in panels so that, we make better use of the time. One of the things I did in the first one was I didn't even have a photographer. So I didn't even have I didn't have an official photographer, so the pictures were not that good.
In this video, I talked to Ismail Oyekan, the founder and CEO of Influencer Marketing Conference and Expo, the event about influencer marketing. He will share with us takeaways and best practices organizing this event 2 years in a row. Hello, I'm Mr. KLEX, and my passion is to organize virtual and in-person events. And I love to learn from other industry leaders and from other event organizers. This is what we are doing in this video as well. Hello, Ishmael. I'm happy to have you here as a guest. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us your story related to in-person events?
Interesting. Well, my name is Ismail Oyekan. I'm the CEO and founder of the Influencer Marketing Conference and Expo. The Influencer Marketing Conference and Expo is now the largest gathering of influencer marketing professionals in the world. We started that event in July 2019 at the Los Angeles Convention Center. And we had 652 people in attendance. We had some exhibits, and we did another follow-up event, fortunately, before the whole pandemic happened, or when it was just kind of like taking shape in February, late February of this year. We had 670 people in attendance. So it was a conference that was designed to give people an opportunity to learn the best practices, the challenges and opportunities in influencer marketing, which is a fast-growing niche in digital marketing. A lot of people are aware that there's great ROI from influencer marketing, and most of the information that people get is very speculative from YouTube or so-called experts. So I thought that there was a great opportunity to bring people together in a live setting so that we can learn from each other.
Actually, you had experience organizing live events, right? Before your first influencer marketing event.
Yes, I did. I actually started doing live events back in 2009, and you just dived right into the ocean, made a lot of mistakes. I had another conference back in 2009 from a different industry called the electronics recycling industry. So that conference was called International Electronics Recycling Conference and Expo. And I had a 4-year run with that, and it became kind of like something I wasn't too interested in again. And I took a long break from events and came back in 2019.
And with the influencer marketing conference, so when you told the numbers, the first and the second event had the very similar numbers. Why was it? Why you didn't grow in the attendee numbers?
For me, my focus is not necessarily quantity. I was more focused on quality. And I realized that influencer marketing is a niche, right? So although there's a lot of growing interest in influencer marketing, if you go on LinkedIn, there are hundreds of thousands of people that are affiliated or related to that industry. 5 years ago, there was no one probably that had a title of influence marketing director. Now it's a common job title in businesses of all sizes. I think one of the reasons why our numbers are very similar is, first of all, we did the first event in July, and we did the next event about 7 months later. So we didn't even allow for a whole year to build up. And number two, the awareness is still an issue for us because, obviously over time, people will know about the event. There'll be more feedback. But so we wanted to, and this is my call, I wanted to basically create another event because I had so much fun doing the first one that I couldn't wait for a whole year. And I think looking back now, it was a beautiful, awesome decision, because if I had pushed it till July, I would have had to cancel it. And now I'm doing the transition to a virtual event in July. So we're doing the Influencer Marketing Conference and Expo, the virtual edition in July. And that's about July 15th to the 18th.
And your conference was connected, well, you did Expo at the same time. Your first conference was also with Expo, right?
Right. So I always thought that if you're going to do an event, you want to monetize it. The added advantage is when you have an expo, you give people a chance to do business on their own terms at their own pace, right? You give people a chance to meet people and network organically more in depth. When it's a conference, it's more focused on learning with a little bit of networking. So I've always felt that it just makes so much more sense to do a conference and an expo. But I'm aware that not everyone believes in that. It's obviously more stressful because you have to get a bigger space. You have to, it's more costly, but I think you get a better ROI and a better user experience when there's an exhibit.
All right. And how do you balance that people can spend some time listening to presentations and interacting with expo participants?
Yeah, that's always a challenge. Yeah, so you have to, well, like I said, when I got into this, I learned by observing others. And so I would look at other events and look at their timeline and their agenda. And obviously I'm a fan of live events and I've attended quite a few, even prior to launching one. And I kind of like reference those in developing an agenda and just taking people's feedback. I mean, I've had conferences where people felt like, oh, you should have given more time for the exhibit hall. And I've had conferences where people were like, oh, wow, I'm so happy with the flow of everything. So you certainly have to have that balance. And that's up to the event organizers to determine, how best to create that flow. The last event we had, there were certain keynote sessions that we would close the exhibit hall so that we'll drive more attendance for our keynote sponsors, so that they got value or they felt like they got an ROI in their investment. And there were conferences where I've had, like I just did a virtual event called the Stay Home Conference where there was no exhibit because it was a virtual event. And now I'm studying and I'm learning fast that you can have a virtual exhibit hall that simulates a live exhibit hall. And I'm looking forward to implementing that at the IMCX Influencer Marketing Conference Expo virtual edition in July.
Mm-hmm. So basically you decided to do expo together with a conference in order to get a little bit more revenue, more profit, so that you can be incentivized to create this conference in the following year.
And more importantly, to create a better user experience. When you're doing live events, you want to give people a maximum reason, or you want to maximize their reasons to want to attend. So a conference might not do it for some people. Some people want to walk an exhibit hall and drum up some business and develop relationships that way. And a lot of businesses want to have a chance to interact with stakeholders in an industry. And that usually happens in the exhibit hall versus in a conference room where, conversations are being shared or, information is being shared, excuse me. I think in an exhibit hall, it's more of a marketplace. I can come up to you and ask you what you do, and you can explain what you do. You can give me some marketing materials. And I think that combination is where the magic happens. But again, everyone has a different way of doing it. That's just what has worked for me over the years.
And the pricing, how did you price your event? Were there a lot of tiers of pricing? And do you have to pay extra for exhibition?
No, generally we give everyone access to the exhibit hall. So, when you have an exhibition and you have sessions going on at the same time, you can justify why people should pay a little bit more than if they were just going to a seminar, right? So we generally allow everyone access to the exhibit hall. I've never done a conference where people didn't have access to the exhibit hall. It would usually be the other way around, where everyone has access to the exhibit hall and you would have to have a certain level of registration, or you would have to be at a certain tier to have access to all the sessions. But generally, we do 2 levels. I usually do a standard registration and I usually do a VIP registration. The VIP gives people more access to, other people that are in the VIP category and some of the speakers. Maybe we might host an awards dinner and give them an all-inclusive pass, so to speak, right? And then give them access to the recorded sessions and stuff like that. So you pack the VIP with just more value than a standard pass. But the events that I organize are generally business to business, and people understand that there's great value in attending the conference for 2-3 days and catching up on all the trends in an industry, discovering new opportunities, and learning how to solve their challenges.
And did you have a cap for the VIP tickets? Or
no, I haven't reached that level where we're capping things. I take all the money. So we haven't, nice. Again, like I said, our events are, I haven't done an event with over 1,000 attendees as of yet, at least on the live event side. Hopefully I'll get there. But I'm very content with the turnout that we have, because I feel like when an event gets too big, it's very difficult to manage, and people don't have the same user experience as a more intimate environment where they're able to feel like I met a healthy chunk of people that attended versus, oh my God, there were so many people, they get overwhelmed, and there are events of that, like a consumer event, a B2C event that might be better suited for. But in a business event, like where you're talking about a specific niche, like electronics recycling, influencer marketing, there are only a handful of people in this industries in general, right? So it's more intimate when you have less than 1,000 people in my observation.
Well, myself, I organized maximum 180 people business event as well, live event. So I really would like to scale to 600, but I'm doing in Europe, so it's a little bit more difficult to get people. And talking about VIPs, what was the percentage? Let's say you had 650 attendees. How many were VIPs? What's the percentage?
You would think that there'll be more people that will do the standard. Of course, we have more people that do the standard, but a healthy amount of people want the VIP package.
Oh, nice.
I think it's a psychological thing for some people. Some people, when they go to a restaurant and they have a bottle of wine, let's use Europe. Let's say it's 50 euros. And the waiter goes, we have another one that's 99 euros. Most human beings are curious about the 99 euro wine, as long as they can justify the value. So I haven't really done the data to figure out what's what, but I would say about 70-30. Most people, a healthy amount of people want the VIP package because, the way I do it is I let them realize, look, the VIP package saves you money in the long term. Because if you were to buy out a regular pass and you bought the recorded sessions and, you were to fly out to do a meeting with some of the speakers or some of the VIP guests we have, it will cost you way more than what we're charging for a VIP ticket. So I think the key is in articulating the value to people so that they can make a better informed decision if they want to go with the VIP or a regular pass.
And what was the price difference? What was the price for the regular and VIPs?
Good question. For the last conference we had, I think the last IMCX, the VIP pass was $900 and the regular pass was $600. So it's not really significantly higher.
It's quite small difference. And it's for 2 or 3 days event?
Okay, the first IMCX we did was 3 days in July 2019, and the one we just did in February was only 2 days.
Actually, why did you decide to shrink to make 2 days?
It's a good question. What I realized was when we did the first one, we had a huge attendance in the third day because we made the third day free, right? It was the first event. You have to make those type of concessions. You want people to get a taste of what it was about. So we did workshops in the third day. And it cost us a lot more money to organize a 3-day event. And we had a lot of feedback after doing the event survey where people felt like 3 days was too much. So the reason why I did the 3-day conference was to kind of like make a bang and let people understand that there's this event and give them more of an opportunity to have an experience with it. And I really find that unnecessary moving forward. So 2 days should be adequate.
Good. And how big was your team before the actual event? Like how many people were organizing all this?
It's a good question. I generally do most of the work myself. I work with a lot of freelancers. I work with a lot of virtual assistants, and I hire staff for the event itself. So during the event, I have about 10 people working for me, just making sure my guests are comfortable, registering people, getting them their badges. And even that is a gridlock. So I think the key is just, at this point in the timeline of my conferences, I do 95% of the work by myself. I really enjoy organically connecting with the attendees, and I have a lot of tools and resources that I use that allow me to work as if it's 8 of me.
So when you organized your first conference, you were not an influencer yourself in the industry. So how did you connect to all these people? Oh, you were? I
wasn't an influencer. Everyone is an influencer, so that's a funny word. And a lot of people don't even like that word. What I do for a living outside of this is I work as a digital marketing consultant.
Okay.
And I started getting a lot of focus, and I wanted to hyper-focus on influencer marketing. So I do work with brands. I've worked with over 200 brands on influencer discovery, which is recruiting influencers for them, campaign management, measuring the ROI on their campaign. I've worked with a lot of tech startups, matching them up with the right influencers. I've worked with a lot of A-list influencers like DJ Khaled, Floyd Mayweather, the late Nipsey Hussle, several others. And so I enjoy doing what I do. And I realized that there wasn't any conference that was catered to influencer marketing. So I created one.
And how did you get the sponsors? Like, also, it's the same from your industry, from your regular work. You just ask them to sponsor the event, right?
Yeah, well, it's very difficult initially. So you leverage the fact that people want to speak and people want to get visibility, and it's becoming a very, competitive industry. There, you have influencer marketing agencies, you have influencer marketing platforms, you have influencers themselves, you have, every day there's a new influencer marketing platform coming up. You have issues like influencer fraud, you have compliance and, regulation, you have data privacy laws that are impacting this whole industry. So there's so many stakeholders in the industry that the opportunity is very vast to create something like this. And that's the key to it, looking for a niche that people are involved in and will see value in going out of their way to come learn more and discover best practices. So influence marketing fit that narrative. There are a lot of people that understand that influence marketing, there are laws to be adhered to. There are regulatory agencies, like here in the United States, we have the Federal Trade Commission that enforce advertising laws in this new digital realm. So influencer marketing it's evolving, and no one has a degree in it, right? No one has a bachelor's or master's degree in influencer marketing. So the way to catch up on the knowledge is to attend a conference like this.
All right. And so you did 2 conferences. Can you tell me what was like your learning from the first conference and then you didn't do or you did in the second one?
Good question. I think the whole aesthetics of the event, the flow of the event, and just taking the feedback that the attendees from the first conference gave us allowed us to have a better user experience. Like, one of the things I did in the first one was I didn't even have a photographer. So I wasn't able to capture the right. I just felt like, oh yeah, let's do social media. Let's get organic photos from so I didn't even have I didn't have an official photographer. So the pictures were not that good. The staging was more improved in the next one. If you look at the pictures of the first one, it was like, you could tell that I was a rookie. Like, we were putting the banners up. I was trying to save money in places where I should have spent money, right? So I realized, look, the way your event looks on the video is very important. One thing that we've been fortunate is we've always had great speakers. I'm a great networker. I know how to approach the right speakers. And a lot of people want to speak in any type of booming industry. Like, we had about 350 speaker requests for both conferences. And we ended up with 70 the first one and over 75 in the second one. Another thing that I learned was I don't have to do a 3-day conference. I can put people in panels so that, we make better use of the time, and obviously give people a break. Like, we had sessions back to back to back to back because I was trying to fit so many speakers in the agenda. Another thing that I learned was give people a chance to have some type of fun, create a good networking event. So this year we rented a beautiful mansion in the Hollywood Hills where people came and had an after party that was amazing. To me, that was the favorite part of the event.
And actually talking about parties, so how did you organize any kind of official socializing? Did you book the venue?
Yes, the first year we didn't really have much of that. The one we just did this year, we had an amazing party in the Hollywood Hills. We rented a 10,000 square foot mansion. We had bartenders with fire, juggling fire. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I have pictures that and people really enjoy that. And it's an added expense, but I think it creates more of a added networking opportunity for people. And a lot of people appreciated that, especially people that purchase a VIP package. And then what we did was eventually we made it free. We made it open for everyone. So after the conference, after being in the convention center for 2 days, people felt so good to be able to have a taste of Los Angeles in a beautiful setting. So I really, really value that more than I expected to.
All right. So one of the last questions, you organized a lot of events in the past and now Influencer Marketing Conference. What is your biggest weakness when you organize your events?
I would say it's funding. I would say most of my biggest, I'm trying to improve email marketing. I'm not the best at email marketing. And now I've hired 2 people to help me because I tend to want to do everything myself. I think it's almost like a farmer who wants to make sure his crops are beautiful. And now I'm learning to let go and trust others with different roles and delegating. I think for most event organizers, you want to start out small and test things. And once you realize, okay, you know what, I've built a community, then you can bring people on. I think what happens is a lot of people come into events and overwhelm themselves with expenses that are really unnecessary. For me, it's a labor of love. I enjoy what I do. I would do it if I wasn't paid for it. So getting paid for it and making six figures from organizing events is an added perk for me that motivates me to keep going. And now I've developed another event called the Stay Home Conference. I'm doing the IMCX Influencer Marketing Conference Expo, the virtual edition in July, which to me is very exciting because now I don't have the expenses that I normally deal with, right? And everyone can attend virtually, just like how we're connecting right now. I'm in Los Angeles, you're in Europe. Everyone can, so the reach is much wider. People don't have to worry about travel, hotel, visas, and all the stuff that minimize your attendance count for a live event. I don't have to worry about the convention center, the union. I don't have to worry about, you know, my expenses are a joke compared to a live event. And I'm still able to capture awesome content. And now we're creating a virtual networking lounge where people can sort of have a simulated networking experience as well.
Yeah, actually myself, I created 6 virtual summits and then I transitioned to the live events. And your story is vice versa, so it's funny.
Which one do you prefer?
Well, live events is my passion. Like I became maybe tired of virtual events and I just wanted to do live events. That's why it's virtual events. Yeah. Well, also live events I can do from home, but it's more stressful. Live events are more stressful, of course, especially because of funding. When people are not buying tickets, you're getting like...
It creates a lot of anxieties. Your blood pressure goes up.
Yeah.
And most people do not buy tickets till about a week before the event. So it's very hard to gauge attendance. And then you got people asking how many people have registered. You're like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to reveal that information because it's, and then all of a sudden, 3 days before your event, you just get this, you get slammed with so many registrations because what it is people are watching the build up. And so I think live events are very stressful. With the virtual events, I try to make them free or make them very affordable. IMCX, because of the type of event we've created in the live setting, the virtual pass is $99, right? But to me, that's a greater value for even the attendees than having to fly out to Los Angeles, pay for a hotel. It's not cheap out here. Pay for parking. You almost damn near pay that for parking over 2 days than what we're charging for registration. So people have a chance to, you know, still learn updated content from the comfort of their home. And if they can't watch a live stream, they can purchase a recorded version and digest it on demand. So it keeps the engine running by utilizing technology. I love it.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Ismail, for all your knowledge, for your takeaways. And can you tell us again, like, what are your events, what you're working on right now? And we will put all the links to your work as well in the description.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so we're just launched something called the Stay Home Community, which gives you access to online, a continuous platform. It's an online educational platform for business content. So we'll probably put this up there. We'll put a bunch of content up there. We're going to start sourcing content from different events where people can watch on demand. That's $99 a year. We're doing another version of that called the Stay Home Conference on June 15th to the 18th, and then to the 17th, excuse me. And then we're doing the third Influencer Marketing Conference Expo, which is going to be a virtual edition in July 15th to the 18th.
Will it be paid or for free?
No, it's going to be $99 for that.
Okay.
I'll probably release a couple of discount codes here and there to people that have attended in the past. But I expect to have over 1,000 people signed up for that.
And let's say your virtual influencer marketing event is really successful and maybe profitable. Will you organize another one, in-person one?
Well, it will be profitable and it will be successful. Let's put that out there. And I will have a very hard time being convinced to do another live one. You know, I like my tranquility. Like I said, I have other things I do for a living. And I have a child. I don't want to be stressed out. And I think, honestly, because of this COVID situation, people are going to think twice before they attend a live event. I think everyone is experiencing, you know, what it feels like to participate in a virtual setting. Everyone knows what a Zoom call is now. So I think it's going to be a while before people start investing in live events again. And so I'm going to ride the virtual wave for a little bit and just kind of like observe everyone's temperature before I dive back in that crazy world of live events again.
Yeah, and you have enough time because this COVID situation will definitely impact for another like few months. I planned this year 6 or 8 events in Europe, but now I will do maybe just 2 or 3. Depends when all the borders are open in Europe in autumn. So
yeah, but you could keep the virtual ones going, right?
Yeah.
You did a live event, what, in March?
Actually, we were affected. We did in Czech Republic, and during our event, Czech Republic authorities were changing the regulations. So I had to had 200 plus people, but only 100 arrived. And the Czech government put on our second day put a regulation that maximum 100 can be in the event. So in the room. So it was like really perfect. Actually, we had maybe 110, 120, but not everybody came to the room. So it was always, we kept like 95. So it was, and then one day later, there were like 30 people in the room. So we just, out of 2 days event, we made all the presentations we moved to the first day until like 11 p.m. And on the second day, we just had like small 3 rooms. We split people into 3 rooms and were more masterminding, which was not planned initially. So I think people got even more value out of these 2 days than simple 2-day conference with only presentations. So
interesting. Yeah, one more thing, I'm actually doing a course where I'm teaching people how to create their own virtual events, from the idea to the execution. And I'm pretty much putting together a pilot group. So if people want to contact me for that, they can reach out to me at ishmilly@icloud.com. And they can become, they learn from over 10 years of experience that I have organizing events in general. And I teach them some of the strategies and the tools that I used to make $32,000 for my last virtual event, which was my first virtual event. So to me, I think that information can help people that are, thought leaders in the space, or even people that have traditionally done live events and are struggling with that transition. And they can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Ismail Oyekan, ISMAIL OYEKAN, or Ishmilly@icloud.com for more information.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ismail, and talk to you in the future. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care.
I hope you enjoyed this video with Ismail, and if you want to learn more about events, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And here we talk about virtual event technologies and also about organizing in-person conferences.